All right. Hey, everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate. Specifically today, Patrick, we're talking about tariffs.
Well, this is exciting. You know, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, so, we thought this would be a good time for us to talk about it a little bit as well. And obviously, I think you have to have slept through the last week to not know what's been going on with these tariffs proposed against Canada and then now pulled back for 30 days. And what does that mean? What is going on?
Well, yeah, it adds, to the real estate market, it adds a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of uncertainty around that. And people don't like uncertainty moving forward with big purchases or big decisions in their life.
Yeah.
So, it does add a bit of confusion to the real estate market. But if we've learned anything from Donald Trump, he likes to say a lot of things.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it always happens, right?
Yeah, I think he likes the attention, right?
And the media feeds into that, right? They give it to him.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but really, let's talk about this. I'm going to tell you what I think of the whole idea of these tariffs, okay? To start with, there is an existing trade agreement that was actually brokered by the first term of Donald Trump. Okay, So first of all, we would say that these tariffs are basically illegal. You're ripping up an existing trade agreement to say, no, we're going to do this instead. And really, to me, this is the bully on the playground saying, I'm going to flex and exert myself so everybody knows I'm the biggest, baddest bully on this playground.
Which they are.
Right?
Right.
Except, here's the interesting point. They'll push around their friends, or try to, and go easy on China.
Well, I wonder if this is a strategic play on a big picture where it's not a direct attack on China, but it does impact China because think about all the Chinese influence that is going on right here in Canada.
Right.
How many mines, how many resources are sold to Chinese companies, right? Yeah. I'm not talking about international foreign entities purchasing real estate here. We're talking about that.
Yeah.
Our own BC elections, there's foreign interference.
So they say
allegedly, right?
Yeah, allegedly.
But this is ongoing.
Yeah.
So there might be some merit to this. I'm not the RCMP. I don't know those details, but that's kind of been the narrative for a couple of years now.
Yeah. But so here's going back to the Canada and these tariffs. What I would say is this: why institute tariffs if you want to have some things addressed with the border and with fentanyl? Come and let's have a conversation about it. Here's the interesting thing. Statistically, less than 1% of fentanyl and illegal immigration comes through the northern border. Okay, the Canadian government has already committed, my understanding is, $1 billion to address that. Okay, and what came out now is that this 30-day extension was because the Canadian government had agreed to put in that $1 billion. Well, that happened already. That wasn't a result of the tariffs.
Right, they've committed to that December 17th. Parliament hasn't been in session since whenever it's been, I don't know right now, right? It's been a while. So they can't pass a bill to actually write a check for that money at this point.
Right, but they've already made the plan to do it, agreed to do it. And the intention is there.
The intent to, like Justin Trudeau intends to step down, right?
Sure.
Like Amber Heard intends to donate money to charities from the Johnny Depp lawsuit, right? We'll see when it actually happens.
Okay, but so here's my point: is now I heard one of the U.S. I don't know if his exact position, but he was a Republican. Yeah. And his point was, see, the tariffs worked because we got what we wanted out of Canada and we got what we wanted out of Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, Canada had already agreed to do that before the tariffs ever came around.
Before Donald Trump, I don't
See,
remember exactly when
this came
Donald
about
Trump
in
said that.
December.
Yeah. So why did it take 9 years for Justin Trudeau to do this, to address this issue? Because there's been illegal immigration. I'm not talking about the U.S. anymore, but it comes from the U.S. to Canada.
Well,
We haven't taken the border seriously for 9 years.
Sure.
It's been an open door for, you find it in the news, terrorists from other countries.
Yeah.
Right? Illegals coming this way. And then we're probably the biggest distributor, our government, our BC government's the biggest distributor of narcotics. We just decriminalize them now, and now it's like safe supply. We're both Gen Xers, and I remember commercials of like a frying pan, and they put on
the egg.
Yeah. This is
your brain.
This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
Yeah.
Like, when is this safe supply nonsense? Drugs are not safe. Period.
100%.
And I understand, like, harm reduction.
Yeah.
But, like, has it worked? We've got a worse problem than ever before.
Sure.
So it's like putting pressure on somebody. Take away all the BS, right? You want something done, you pressure somebody.
But here's the thing. If you want it done, if you're Donald Trump, you're the president, and these are the things you want done, have a conversation. This is, we're talking about sovereign nations. We're not talking about kids on the playground. That you can, and even kids on the playground, you get dealt with, right?
Right.
The issue is right now, like we said, the Americans are the biggest
bully on the block.
Biggest bully on the block.
Yep.
Sure. But so I guess my opinion of all of it is this could have been done with far less rhetoric, far less. Lights and I think,
but that's not who we got.
Right. I think the current president of the United States likes the attention. He likes the bigger than life whatever. And in amongst all of that, we throw in you should be the 51st state. And then there would be no tariffs, and then you'd have better policing, and you'd have better military.
Because he's a meme lord.
But I mean,
right, that's master level trolling, and it works,
right?
Right, because he already has the media. This is the funny thing about Trump. It's we saw this in the first term that no one else is like used to. He basically uses public opinion, the media, for his advantage for negotiating.
Right.
So if he says something, everybody overreacts to it. So every time it's like, well, if I do something or if I say something, I know everyone will overreact to it. And it's usually in a negative way, right? So knowing that in a game, you know what kind of result you're going to get. So like everybody plays into it every time when everybody should just relax, let it blow over,
right.
Because like what happens in the end? Look, now we're going to have border security or whatever they're going to do. They're going to be harder on drugs or something like that.
Yeah.
When there's going to be a revolving door justice system anyways.
Yeah, just to qualify also. Yeah, I think the one thing I want to say is I'm not saying that we should be easy on drugs or that we should be easy on the border. Yeah. I'm saying there are easier and better ways to handle this, like rational adults that to talk through it and come up with a solution that doesn't require you holding a bat over somebody's head to get them to do it.
But this is his style. And
sure.
that's he attracts that kind of criticism.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It could all be done privately. It doesn't have to be done on Twitter or, his own social program, whatever it is.
Here's the other interesting thing. Just in terms of, I was reading some of the responses that from other countries and what they're saying and watching some of the interviews with like the EU. And the interview I was watching was with business people in Australia.
Yeah.
And they said, well, nothing's been said to us about tariffs, but we are starting to prepare now because we feel like you never know when he's just going to decide randomly out of the blue to go after another country with tariffs.
Yeah, that's prudent.
Right? So now you have the rest of the world is kind of on edge, not in a good way, right?
Yeah.
On edge in terms of, okay, how do I prepare for a potential trade war?
Possibly,
right?
definitely.
And I think it was the Wall Street Journal had the best quote about it. Is the Wall Street Journal said it's the dumbest trade war ever.
Based on what?
Well, just the fact that it didn't need to happen.
So what's the goal of doing all these tariffs, right? If he wants to do 25% tariffs, so now he's leveraging the threat of doing that. So everybody can, like, if it's Panama, takes, doesn't lean towards Chinese.
Sure.
Right? So this puts pressure on Canada and China from like outside forces, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a direct attack on anybody, right? So maybe it's strategic, I don't know. But, so they get Canada, I haven't figured out Greenland yet. I haven't paid that much attention to it, right?
Yeah.
But they have their own independence issues there.
Sure.
They want to break away from not everybody, but there is some voices about independence for Greenland. I don't know why or how Donald Trump is putting his nose into like, oh, we're going to buy Greenland too, right?
Yeah.
But like none of this is actually going to happen.
No,
this
of course
is
not.
all hot air.
Right.
But this stirs up the conversations in different places to address certain issues. This is not a bad thing, I think.
Well, I guess, you know what one thing I think it is doing for Canada is it's unifying us as a nation like few other things have done. Where now you're seeing...
Like buy local.
Yes, right? The whole buy local sentiment, the whole... there's a Facebook group that someone sent me an invitation to on buy local, but it's all across the country. The group is more than just local. It's all across Canada, and there's people, oh, this is what to get in Quebec. Oh yeah, this is what to get if you're in this province. This is so on and so on.
Right, but this is complete nonsense. I understand what you're saying, but the history does not reflect this. Right? Right now we're unifying against one common enemy, right? Mm-hmm. But when the political party leaders get us to do this, they can easily separate us.
Sure.
Just look back a few years ago when everybody was at each other for, you're not wearing a mask, you're wearing a mask. Don't go 6 feet from me. Or don't come within too close to me.
Yeah.
Like, we had all of these divisive things. You can't go to the theater, you can't go to the gym, you can go to the gym. If you do this, you won't have a job. You will have a job.
Right.
Right? So this is a theater that the politics are playing against all Canadians. Right? We're not unifying against... Americans are our neighbors. Yes, we should be good neighbors to them. Donald Trump wants something, and our politicians are blowing it out of proportion, getting us all excited. We're booing the American national anthem. Yeah. This is nonsense. We should keep politics out of sports altogether. Yeah. Because sports and other entertainment are already bred in circuses, right? Well, these are our distractions.
You know what, let me throw you in one thing for the sports. I think one of the reasons that Mexico got their deal is so that the U.S. could have guacamole for the Super Bowl.
From the cartels.
But
that's a cartel product.
Sure.
It is.
But the point is, when I go back to the unifying of the nation, I think over the years what we have seen is the thing that makes Canadians kind of get together and stand up is when you actually come after everybody. And whether it's Donald Trump that did it, which is the perception in this case, and by extension the United States, hence, like you said, the booing at the games and these kind of things.
We jump on this bandwagon so quickly. Why are we driven by hate?
Well,
we're unified by a hate.
Well, I would say in this case, we're unified because someone punched us all in the mouth.
With
tariffs.
With increasing costs. Yeah. It's taxes.
Well, no, I don't think it's just taxes. I think it's
a tax on imported goods.
Yeah, it's a tax for the U.S.
We're so upset on increase in taxes on products imported from somewhere else. That's what's going to happen. Sure. But we don't get pissed off when we get more carbon tax, we get more gas tax, more liquor tax, more road tax, more property tax, more
here's the thing.
Tax.
That's what I was going to say. Is I don't think it's the taxes per se. It's that another country, it's just like someone coming to you and telling you, I want you to do this, and forcing their opinion on you. I think that's how it's perceived, is you have another country coming and saying...
And we react like emotional children. We do.
I don't think we did in this case. If anything,
they are.
but they took, here's the thing, and over the years, we have said we are apolitical. I have not been, I've not been a big supporter of Justin Trudeau.
Hey, you know what? He is the most successful politician to history.
But hang on, okay? But I would say how he's handled this particular situation didn't fly off the handle, said we're going to sit down and talk about this.
We're going to retaliate.
And if that's what everybody decides, then this is how we're going. Like I don't think that was a decision made in a vacuum.
No, he discusses everything with all his advisors for sure.
And in this case, all the political leaders agreed, or pardon me, the provincial leaders agreed as well, except for I think Alberta, that there needed to be some kind of.
Yeah, Daniel Smith was the only one to hold out an olive branch, go down there and talk to Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, but so I'm saying the decision wasn't made in a vacuum. It wasn't made immediately, and there was I think it was a more measured response.
Measured, right? So we're gonna stand up to Donald Trump.
Yeah. Right.
Orange man bad for sure. And then so if it's Freeland or if it's the other banker guy that's on the outsider, yeah, right. All of these people are rallying against Trump because if you don't, all the Canada's sentiment is about protectionism against these tariffs.
Well,
but
here's the other part.
We're deluded.
But
why are we not getting upset about being overtaxed on every single thing?
I agree.
Right.
But that's a different.
So
that's a different thing.
Politically, it's a success move. Justin Trudeau did something very good, and all the other politicians, Pierre included, right? I like conservative values. I like good policies.
Yeah.
But he fell right into well, that's the popular thing. Let's go with that because if I go against the grain, against the flow, he's not going to be looking good in the polls because everybody's sort of uniting against this.
Sure.
Right? Even hockey players are booing American national anthem when I don't know, whatever, a month ago, 2 months ago, there was a game in, I don't know, let's say it was in the Sky Dome or something. They call it something else now, right?
Yeah.
And the mic cut out on the singer for the U.S. national anthem, and all the Canadians sung in the crowd the Star Spangled Banner. Right? What happened to that? So we're easily swayed. So check. Everybody has to just step back. What's the number one rule in negotiating for real estate?
Wind your watch.
Wind your watch. Keep your emotions out of negotiation, right? Do not take anything personal.
Yeah.
And everybody just got excited.
Right. Just so you all know, I just want to clarify what wind your watch means is stop and take some time and wind your watch and think about what's happening and what's going on. So I think
we all have to do that.
Right. So, I think we can keep going on and on. We have kind of slightly different opinions on the whole thing, and
we're still friends,
right?
We can still get along.
We can disagree on something without being disagreeable, and that's kind of my thing. Is this is the bully flexing? Because if it was really about not trying to just manipulate to get your way, you would have tariffed China more than you tariffed Canada and Mexico.
It's only been 2 weeks.
Yep.
And China's responding already. I think whatever.
It went down today, apparently.
Yeah.
So
it's already something's happened.
It's already happening. Yeah. But the point is, why would you go 25% with your closest neighbors and allies, and 10% against somebody who is, in the words of Donald Trump, kind of more the enemy?
Yeah, I guess that's a calculated move, right? I don't know exactly. So we'll see what the result is at the end, if it was a smart move or not.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we'll see how it all shakes down. But that's our take on it. I think that's my take. That's Patrick's take. Obviously, we don't sit down and talk about what do you think and what do I think about this.
We're not political science
people,
right?
Yeah, and as we've said, we are apolitical in all of this, that we're making these. We're just giving our opinion. And to me, it wouldn't matter who was in power. If you come and issue a levy against another sovereign nation and rip up a contract essentially, that you've already done, a treaty that you've already created.
Yeah, but in like commercial contracts, people how do we keep our lawyers employed?
Yeah. But if
People
you're,
break their contracts and renegotiate.
so, but here's
And
my thing. If at a national level, you're prepared to rip up something,
What are you going to do?
right?
You're going to sue the USA?
Right? But
I
so
guess you could.
here's, well, apparently something's happening with
Come
the
collect.
world trade.
Come collect.
I don't know who's going to get the money, right? That's the thing.
Right.
But the point is, what is the precedent that you're setting, not just for your nation, but for the people of your nation in terms of what is right and wrong and where integrity operates?
It feels a little bit naive given like the different actions of different countries across the globe.
Sure.
Like in what's right or what's wrong, morally this or that.
Sure.
So what's right is like what your political promises
In
are,
other
I
words,
guess,
in
right?
this case, they're on the operation of might makes right.
Certainly.
Yeah.
800 bases.
Right.
American imperialism all over the world.
So, anyway, thanks for joining us today. You know what? You can throw it in the comments. Keep it clean. Throw it in the comments. What is your opinion on what's been going on?
Thank you so much.
See ya.